Hello, I think we're live. Let me just see here. Let me turn this around. So, hi guys. I'm back from GrnCon 2017. Yesterday was the last day, so this is the day after. And I thought I'd just go live for a little bit and say what my final thoughts were on the 50th year of GrnCon. And how does it compare to all the big news and all the hype that it was getting. We left on Wednesday last week, and we left the house around like 10:30 or so, and we got in Indianapolis about, I don't know, 3 in the afternoon at some point. So I got ready. Prior to that, I got ready. Didn't have very much to pack, and we got up and left. So we got into the hotel around 3-ish, and then we got into our hotel room, and we kind of just settled in, and then we just kind of chilled for most of the day. We walked around. The exhibit hall hadn't been open at that point. So we just, we're sitting at the food court, right outside the convention hall. We sat there, we played a few games, and we just kind of lounged around, and we kind of met with people that we knew, and Wednesday was a fun day. Going back to a little bit, when we first got into the hotel room, myself and one of the other people I came with, we turned on the TV, and we just, we started flicking through channels, and I never knew this existed, but until last week, I never knew there was a thing called mini rods. And if you don't know what mini rods actually are, they look like a mix between like a go-kart front almost with a cage, and like huge ass like truck tires, and they're like twice the size as the actual cab itself. And there's a driver in there, and I think they're trying to pull like a tractor or something. I mean, I've been to tractor pulls before, and I know what they are. But what I don't really understand is that it was just so funny. I mean, my friend and I were just sitting there laughing because all the mini rods all the big hype, I guess, about the mini rods is they try to go the farthest distance within like 5 or 6 seconds, and then they stop. Like they're on a dirt track, and they just, I mean, you could tell they've souped up the engine so it's nice and loud and very powerful. Well, they like rev it up for like 3 minutes, and then they take off, and it only takes like 5 or 6 seconds, and then they stop. And then I guess they like record the time. Well, my friend and I found this super funny, so we just stayed and watched this channel until the rest of our group got in the hotel, and they saw what we were laughing at. We laughed about it for, I don't know, 20 minutes that first day. So that was basically in the afternoon. We also, we had plans to go to the old spaghetti factory that's actually a couple blocks down from actually where we actually stayed. And that's been our traditional thing for 2 years. This is the second year that we've done it. And it's always good food. They give you about like a 3-course meal for very inexpensive if you really think about it, because you're getting either a super salad, then your main course, and then they give you like spumoni, which is an ice cream for dessert, and then they ask you, do you really want like good dessert? And usually I say no to that. Sorry about that. dog is being very weird. So that's basically what happens on our Wednesdays when we go. And then flash forward to Thursday. Thursday is the first day of the actual convention. Everything is open, events start happening. And that's when really GrnCon kicks off, is Thursday. We get there on Wednesday just because so we can settle in and kind of prepare for the next 4 days and kind of get ready for that. So Thursday rolls around and the doors open up. I get in about 15 minutes early because I'm in a wheelchair. It doesn't seem like that much, and it really isn't, but it helps get, if you want to go for something right away, that 15 or 10 minutes can be just enough to get in line for that specific game or that specific expansion, because most of the time, most of the exhibitors have like a limited supply of 50 copies of Ticket to Ride Germany for like 50 for each day or something like that. They have a rationing that they have to follow. So Thursday for me was my biggest haul, I guess. Is I didn't have any cash really on me. I didn't have any physical cash on me. I just had my card, and that'll come into play later, I guess. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but. So I spent, money, and I was going to buy something else. I got the major things I knew I wanted to buy done, and I was heading over to another booth, and I went to use my card, and it was declined. I'm like, oh God. So I was like, okay. I said, I'm sorry, I don't really have any cash, so I had to put it back. I had to put whatever I wanted back. So I was like, okay. So I called the bank, and they knew I was at a convention, and the fraud department was really cracking down, which is fine. So they just suggested just using like an ATM. So I was like, you know what? I've taken care of Thursday. I was able to use my card for lunch that night, which was dinner and lunch, which is nice. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just one of those things that, the next morning it'll kind of clear itself out. So while this is all happening, I was just like, okay, this is really gonna teach me a lesson, because I know why the bank was like flagging my card, because I understand you're going from booth to booth, and they're all based on different areas. So you're in one area, but you're really not in Japan, but you're buying from a company in Japan, let's say. And so I knew that was the reasoning behind it. And I was like, okay, maybe, after Thursday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop buying for today and see if I go on Friday, if they fix it the same thing. So I try to buy something. I either try to buy lunch or I don't remember. But I try my card one more time, and I'm like, you know what? They told me it was declined. I was like, so I wasn't very happy with that. So talked to the bank again, and I said, they still know the situation, and I said, what do I need to do? And they said, well, just make sure you just try the ATM. So by Friday evening, I was like, okay, I'll just get some money out of the ATM, and my card worked in the ATM just fine. So I was like, okay, I have to keep a minimum amount in my account for just overdraw reasons. So I just took out enough to keep it under that line. So I took the money out, and it worked. My money worked fine, which is good. So I had good lunch. I had a lot of lunches and dinners with friends of mine that I only see maybe once a year for GrnCon. So I spent a lot of time with some friends of mine, people from Board Game Replay. If you know them, they're very nice people. They're very good at what they do with their videos, and I suggest you go look at them. So I just spent a lot of time with them, and I always love I love hanging out with those guys. I met people from just different not companies, but just different reviewers. I met the Gray Elephant. I met the dad from Dad versus Daughter. So they actually were both very nice. So Friday evening, I had an event to go to, and this is the only event that I had this year. I had the One Night Ultimate Werewolf Championship. I was there last year, and I actually placed in the final table. But I also have a video up on my, an actual video up on my YouTube channel that this year, for one of the things that they did, because the game itself is run by an app. You know, there's a timer and there's a soundtrack. Well, they had like a quintet, I think, of strings that would actually play the timer music live, and the creator of the game actually narrated the entire event, which is pretty amazing. So I didn't really do very well. I didn't make the final table, which is fine. I think at the end of the event, I think the highest score was like 38 or something. So, you know, you have to be very, very good at, you know, and you have to be very good at deceiving people in Werewolf, which was kind of hard to do sometimes. But, you know, with the roles that we had, it was really hard to figure people out, because there was basically the werewolf team, the villager team, the blob, which is from the One Night Alien, and you also had the mortician from One Night Alien, and each of those, the blob and the mortician, are kind of separately on their own team. And multiple teams can win per game, which is very interesting. And then at the end of 6 games, you total up the number of wins. Then there's bonus points for how many games you won out of 6. So I only ended up with like 11 points this year, which is fine. What I'm really excited for is that in September they're coming out with Bezier Games is coming out with a game kind of based around werewolf, but it's not really werewolf. It has to do with fictional beasts like the were-shark and things like that. And it's coming on Kickstarter, and it seems like a set collection type of game, so I'm really excited. And that should be coming September 5th, I think they said. So after Friday night, I met up with another friend of mine that I've only heard about, and it was really nice to meet him. And throughout the convention, the rest of the time, I played games with him, and you know, it was a good time. And one thing I do want to mention is that all the badges were actually sold out this year. Not so much because everybody wanted to come. It was kind of a they had a cap on it this year because of capacity and the fire hazards and whatever else. So technically we were sold out. But well, I don't know. We don't know the numbers yet, so we don't know how many people are actually there. and we don't know what the overall grand total of the money that the convention made this year. So it's going to be interesting when they finally release those numbers. One thing I have to touch on really is the crowds. Me being in a wheelchair, you would think, crowds are hard, and I don't really like being around being in crowds. Crowds can be a lot of stress for me, but I think they're very easy if you just take your time and be very patient, because if you think about it, we are all there for the same reason, and everybody that I've met for these last couple of years, everybody is just so friendly and so nice, and every year I forget about that, and every year I go, it's like, this is why I like coming to this convention itself. So the crowds weren't that huge of a deal, and while you're in the crowds, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people. Especially Thursday and Friday, there was a lot of people, but like Saturday and by Saturday, which is the last day, which was yesterday, the crowds were thinning. Everybody had been in and out of the dealer hall several times. They got what they wanted or not, and they just headed home because, after a certain time of day, why would you want to stay? If you've gotten everything you wanted, why not just head home? So overall, I think this year was really, really good. I think it was one of my favorite years. It might be my favorite year. And a lot of the people I came with this year, they said that this year was their favorite year for several reasons, and I can totally agree. For me personally, I didn't spend a lot of time in the exhibit hall for buying games from, just buying games. I didn't spend a lot of time because I was worried about my financial issues that I was having for 2 days. And then, I finally figured it, I finally got it out, and it's like, okay, it all worked out. But I just wanted to say that I think because it's so close, and because every year I go, I always have a good time. And for whatever reason, I don't remember what the big reason was last year, but every year I go, I have some type of issue that I have to deal with, and it's always a learning experience for me. So I think this year is like, okay, either get a prepaid card or just bring cash and just save up cash and pay with everything with cash. So we'll see how that translates into next year. So that's everything in a nutshell. I really enjoyed it. It is the best 4 days in gaming, no matter what you do. Events, hanging out with friends at the bars, at the restaurants, however you want to spend your vacation is up to you, and you make it the best one that you can. If you have some bad days, that's okay, but it's up to you to make it. You make your vacation how you want to make your vacation. So all in all, it's a good time, and I just wanted to now actually see if I can turn this around here and show you everything I ended up picking up this year. Now, I think this year was my my lightest compared to last year, because I was in the consignment room, which I didn't even go to. I didn't even go to the auction/consignment room this year, so I didn't do a lot of, thrift shopping. I just bought straight out. So if you start over here, big games this year for Days of Wonder. You see 5 Tribes, Whims of the Sultan, which is a expansion for 5 Tribes, which is one of my favorite one of my more favorite Days of Wonder games more recently. It goes up to 5 players, and I don't know what else it adds. It goes up to 5, so finally it really matches the name of 5 tribes. The next one down here is Indulgence. Indulgence is by Restoration Games. From what I know of it, it's a 3 to 4 player trick-taking game where it has these like decree cards that tell you do not get all the spades. Do not get, don't get certain cards. Otherwise, you get negative points. I think there's like 6 or 8 of them. So they change every round, so you have to keep on your toes, and every hand is different. And I think it's going to be very interesting. And I'll come back to the trick-taking games in a second. Tally Ho. I've wanted this in my collection for a very long time. It's a 2-player game where one of you plays, let's see, let me turn it around here. One of you plays like the forest, so you play like the bear and the fox, and the other player plays the hunter and another character that's hunting the animals in the forest. I haven't played it yet, but it's been on my list for a long time, and I really do like Cosmos as a company. Oh, let's just do this one in the very back here. Golden Girls Clue. I can't tell you how many people stopped me or mentioned to me on the way through the dealer hall, oh my god, that's the best thing I've seen all day. So I'm a huge Clue nut if you don't know anything about me. I try to have almost all the versions of Clue. I'm still not 100% complete, but I'm getting there. So I love the Golden Girls and I love Clue. So that's why I picked that up. Right beneath it is the Lost Cities playmat with a 6th expedition expansion that I got for I think I paid like $6 for this. It's a 6th expansion. I think it's black. You just add it to the original game, and then you can have a 6th spot to go play on. And then you have this map that I actually got for free because I got Tally Ho for full price. So I got the play mat for free, and I paid for the expansion deck. So that's everything from Cosmos I got. Fox in the Forest is probably my favorite. It's fastly becoming one of my favorite 2-player trick-taking games of the convention. There are a lot of trick-taking games out there, and if you know anything about me, I love trick-taking games, traditional trick-taking games. So I always keep an eye out for trick-taking games, and this got on my radar a couple months ago, and I was very, very excited that I actually got my hands on it. It's by Renegade Game Studios, which for me, they have been hitting it out of the park lately with games that I like, and they've been doing a very good job with art and actually game design. This game itself is very well designed, and the fact that it's only 2 players is actually very interesting. The trick with this game is that you have a deck of cards. Really? You have a deck of cards from 1 to 11, and then all of the odd number cards have a specific power when played, and that can impact your decisions and your actions throughout a hand. Everybody gets 13 cards, and the hand is the hand ends when you play all 13 cards. And the first player to get to 21 points is the winner. And I've played four times now, really not on my copy, but it's very, very well done. I suggest you look at Fox in the Forest. Let me put this up here. Okay, so let's see what else I have here. Ticket to Ride Germany was another big one for Days of Wonder this year. It's the newest Ticket to Ride expansion map. It's a standalone map itself, so it comes with enough trains for 5 players. It reworks the original Markland map, if you know anything about that. It has passengers in it, and it has long and short destination tickets. I was able to play somebody else's copy, and I have not been disappointed with any of the Ticket to Ride maps, except for one, which is the Netherlands map. And the only reason is for that one is that the font on the board and the actual ticket cards are awful. If you look it up, you'll know what I mean. The next thing I picked up was the Ultimate Werewolf, the newest, the card expansion for Ultimate Werewolf. So this is Hunting Party. My family is a huge werewolf family, and I first got Werewolf several years ago, or I knew about Werewolf for a very long time, and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever get enough players to actually play. It seems cool, you know, but truth be told, we've been playing it for years and years, and everybody enjoys it when we pull it out. Now, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But for my family and my group, for most of my group, they like it. So I picked up the newest expansion for those cards. Back here, if you can see, this is also where I ended up picking up the Golden Girls. This is from USAopoly. It's the new Harry Potter deck building game, Hogwarts Battle expansion, which is Fantastical Beasts, I think. So this is the newest expansion for the Hogwarts Battle game that came out last year sometime at GrnCon. And right beneath it is the expansion, the free promo pack. I think it has a couple of cards in it. So I'll be interested to see how that plays into the actual gameplay, because I was really excited when I heard that they were coming out with an expansion for it. So the next one is Reiner Knizia's Modern Art. This is a revamped version of it. There have been very many different variations on it. The original had some betting and some basically betting in auctions and different types of auctions. The one after that, and the original also had some type of set collection. I've yet to play this. I've just known that I've wanted to get my hands on it. But the ones that are only available before this were something called Master's Gallery, which took out the auction portion of it and just focused on the set collection, which I like set collection, but if anything has bidding in it, I'm pretty well interested. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out in my expectations. I've been wanting this game for many, many years, and now that I actually have my hands in it, I'm very excited. So we'll see how that goes. The next couple of games, we're almost done here, so we'll see. The next one is Fantasy Realms. It's by WizKids. And it looks to be a Gin Rummy variant, or something to do with Rummy. you're basically trying to build the best 7-card hand as you can. But each of these cards, there's like 10 different suits, which like wizards, weapons, elements, lands, and things like that. So you're just trying to, you draw a card and then you play a card. But the cool thing is, I'll open it up here and I'll show you what I mean. So let me get this out of the way. Okie dokie. So this is a huge score pad for this game. A lot of pages. You're going to be playing it for a very long time if you end up liking it. So let me just get you that's the expansion card, the promo card that I got. So this is just a glimpse at one of these cards. So when you score, you're gonna score the base value up in the corner, and I'm basing it off the score sheet here. There you go. So you're gonna score all 7 of your cards based off of the base number, which is at the top left, the bonus or penalty, and the bonus and the penalties are found in this box. So this one says 15 for each flame that you have in your hand, including, I would assume including this one. So basically you're trying, if this is the card that you have in your hand, well, and that's the way you want to go, you're gonna try and collect flame cards if you can. So that's basically it. You're gonna draw a card, you're gonna pick a card, and then you're gonna discard a card. The hand ends once 10 cards are face up in a discard pile, and they're all visible. They don't stack. So when 10 cards are on the table, the hand ends, and then you score based off of this per player. And the player who has the most points at the end wins. So that, I don't know much about it, but that's all I know. And I'm very excited to see how that turns out. So let me put this away. Okay, so we'll go down here since this one is over here like this. This is Alex Maddox, which is a game from Japanime Games. I'm a huge anime fan, and I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fan. So when I heard that there was going to be a deck building game based off of the Alice in Wonderland universe and its anime, I could not pass it up. So looking at the back here a little bit, it doesn't really show anything as far as components, but it tells you the story if you want to look at that and read that if you want to. So basically all I know about this game is that it's Alice in Wonderland themed. There's some sort of area control mechanic in it, but then you're also building a deck, and I think you can play like the Cheshire Cat and their White Rabbit, and you have your own special unique deck that you use. So I'll be excited to see how this works out. Only a couple more games here. I think this might be the last one. The Splendor expansion, this was from Space Cowboys. This was very highly on my list. I was very excited to get my hands on it. I was able to get it before it sold out by like Friday of the convention, or Friday or Saturday it sold out or something. This is the expansion for Splendor, and if you don't know what Splendor is a engine building game for 2 to 4 players. Wow, I'm sorry. There we go. So it's an engine building game for 2 to 4 players. It's a very quick game. You're only trying to get to 15 points. So this adds 4 individual modules that you can mix and match with the original base game. I have not played this at all, but I'm very interested to see how this all works together. So I think that's about it, really. So let me turn this around one more time. So that's everything I actually picked up this year. Like I said, I think it was I feel like it's small compared to last year, but I could be wrong. So overall, I think I picked up very good games. I'm very interested to see how most of them play. At some point during the convention, I knew I was done in the hall due to either my financial issues that I was having. I spent a lot of time in my room because I was tempted to go back down to the dealer hall, but I couldn't do it. So overall, Gen Con for me this year was very well done. It was just a very enjoyable time. I met a lot of nice people for the first time. I met some I re-met some friends, and we all kind of clicked. So it was a nice time to get together, which I only see them once a year at most. So Gen Con for me was a blast. I hope to do it next year. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you soon.